Well, welcome everybody. My name is Peter Tursa. I'm here just outside of London, Ontario, and I'm with my friend John Kirk, and we're going to talk about rabbits. We're going to look at his rabbitry. We're going to look at the kind of rabbits he raises. And so we're just going to begin and talking a little bit about, John, how did you get into this hobby?
Well,
or is it a hobby to start off with?
It better be. It better be a hobby, because if you're in it for the money, you're in the wrong hobby or business. No, we always had rabbits when I was growing up at home. Nothing special, just meat rabbits, and so I've had rabbits my whole life.
Okay. Okay. How many rabbits do you have right now, roughly, and what breeds do you have?
So I'm often asked this question. I have no idea, to be totally accurate and honest. I'm guessing somewhere between 100 and 150, but to me, numbers don't really matter, because basically, what are you going to do? If you're comfortable with the number, if you're comfortable with your expenses, I think that's all that matters. You can get to the point of having too many rabbits, but you need to have a certain number in order to be competitive.
And when you mean competitive, what do you mean?
Well, to be competitive is simply not adding to a point total. It's not simply to fill a class at a show. It's to have hopefully the best or among the best rabbits that are shown, be it Flemish Giant, New Zealand's, Californians, or Giant Chins, or any breed for that matter.
But the three breeds that you have are the first three you mentioned, is that correct?
Four.
You have four? Oh, I didn't even know. Go ahead, name them again.
So the Flemish Giant in the sandy and fawn color, New Zealand Whites, Californians, and the Giant Chin.
You have Giant Chins as well.
Always.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite in there? Which is your favorite breed?
Some old-timers would say the Flemish Giants, so I think I have a soft spot for them. They were my first breed.
All right. And it's a hobby in that you show these rabbits.
Yes.
You do, what if you didn't show them? Would you still have the rabbits?
I think that's the key. I don't rely on shows to pique my interest. I would have the rabbits regardless. I had the rabbits even before I realized what shows were, or that there was even such a thing. I don't rely on the rabbit shows for any sort of income, and so I do it for my interest. It's my hobby, and it's what I love to do.
Now, so even though you don't show them always, what is it you like about just having the rabbits? What is it you like about them?
I'm a competitive person by nature, so I like to think that I'm progressing, that I'm developing a better specimen in the four breeds, and I like to see my breeding come to fruition by having good, knowledgeable judges acknowledge the fruits of my labor.
All right, but even if you didn't go to the show, you'd be happy, but you're working towards a standard.
Yes.
That the various organizations have. There's the Canadian one and the American. It's mostly the American, I think, that you probably follow, John. Is that right?
That's right.
And so you're working towards getting them to a standard. You're working on bloodlines to improve. What are the sort of things you're looking at when you are breeding them? Well,
you try to. Again, some old-timers would say that you should breed for exaggeration. That is, you cannot improve all areas of weakness in your rabbits in one fell swoop, in one breeding, but you hope to improve, an area and take a doe that perhaps is weak in one area and breed her to a buck who's very, very strong in that area. And then with the offspring, you take a look and see what offspring has improved that weakness, that area of weakness in the doe or in the buck, and and go from there and try to concentrate on one area at a time.
Okay. What do you find most challenging about raising your rabbits and the 4 breeds you have? Is there one of the breeds that are more challenging than the other? What are some of the challenges you face?
Well, certainly the weather is certainly, I don't know if it's at the top of the list as far as challenges, but certainly with our winters up here, summer, for example, a day like today in the 90s, or
30 degrees plus Celsius,
30 degrees plus, closer probably to 35. That's certainly a challenge. Winter with freezing water bottles, freezing crocs, that's an issue. And breeding rabbits, sometimes our genetic pool is diminishing. Therefore, maybe some of the animals are not as cooperative or as responsive maybe as they were 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Do you have a most memorable experience over the years? Now, roughly how many years have you been more active in showing them and a little more serious about raising them rather than just at home with family? When did you get more serious? And a moment that you're proud of?
All right, so I've had the Flemish close to 45 years now. And I always tell this story that my father is very, very old school, very much steeped in the old East European ways. And so I do recall that my first Flemish cost me $25 at the time.
Wow, that many years ago already. Yes. That was a lot of money.
Yes, it was. And I never did tell my father how much I had paid for it, nor did he ask. But hearkening back, if I had ever told him that I had spent that kind of money on a rabbit, to him it's just not fathomable. It's just not even realistic. It's out of the realm of possibility for him. But so that memorable. I've taken. I bred the number 1 and number 7 Flemish Giant in North America in 2015. My number 7 that I showed, she did that in 2 weekends to end up number 7 in the country in North America. I took the national in the Giant Chins as well, best display at Flemish Nationals, and so on. So those are some of the highlights.
You've had some winnings.
A few.
Made it worth wow.
Do you ever get tired of winning? Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. Whatever.
It's a big part of it, but you'd still do it even if you didn't show.
Definitely.
Yeah. You enjoy the breeding and the spending time with them. And
I don't take them to a show to sell. If someone would like to get a hold of me ahead of time and say, could you bring something for me to look at, I will do that. I will accommodate them. But the ones that I do take to a show, they're to be shown by me, and in 99.99% of the cases, they're coming home with me. I didn't take them to sell, so I don't need a show to generate any sort of income.
Well, that's great, John. Now, we're in the rabbitry here now, and we're going to take a tour here. We're going to look at cages and how you do feeding and that.
Okay.
So let's move into that part of the barn.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
No. Welcome back to the rabbitry.
What are these cages for, John, and what size are they, roughly?
All right, so my wire cages, along with the wooden ones, they're 8 feet long, 2 feet high, and 3 feet deep.
These are for your Flemish.
Yeah, these are for my Flemish, that's right, and just my Flemish at this size. They're divided, this one here is 5 feet, this one here is 3 feet. There's a doorway whereby if I had a doe with a large litter, I could open up that door and give her and the kids access to the entire 8 foot long cage.
So the whole cage is 8 feet long.
That's right.
And how do you get at her if you do need to get in?
Well, there are 3 doors total, 2 at the big end, and 1 at the smaller end.
But they're top.
They're top. That's right. So I open the.
Can you open it?
Sure. There, and then I'll reach in, etc. Like that.
Now, does that give you enough access over the whole cage, no matter where they go?
That's right. I may have to open both if she's playing hard to get, or he. But that's not an issue.
And how do you feed these ones, the wire cages? I see that you don't have a feeder on the front.
No, I don't. with the Flemish, I find that the feeders for, let's say, for the Californians and New Zealanders, perhaps the Flemish head is too big, too wide. Therefore, all the Flemish are fed in crocks, the blue one there, etc. Then water, it all depends. Some people will say that water bottles, that the Flemish doesn't get enough water simply with water bottles. So it's up to you to decide. But in here, for example, they have water bowls here. I have a guillotine door that I can open up, and I can install a drop-down cage, a nesting box, for them, more as nature would intend, so the doe can go in there, have kindle, for example, and jump out, etc. The babies are safe from predators. It's dark, and I can look into the nest box without disturbing her. If it's a skittish doe, I can always close this during the day and only allow access to her babies once or twice a day.
Do you have a nest box that you can hang on there to show us?
Sure. This would be at floor level. Doe goes in, and this is what she would be looking at in that area here.
And roughly how big is that for a Flemish?
This is 18 inches in length and about 10 inches in width, and again roughly 15 inches high.
Can you just hang it on the door and show us what that looks like? There you go.
Yeah. So that's what it looks like, etc. So the guillotine door has been removed. The opening to her nest box is at floor level. And so easy access this way to check on how the babies are doing. And that basically is what she's looking at.
Now I notice you have a wood top on there, but the wire as well. I assume in the summer you would take that wood top off to air it out more.
Yes.
In the winter that keeps it warmer by having the wood.
Exactly.
That's why you have the wood and the wire
Yep.
on the top.
That's right.
So both, you can use one or the other.
Yep.
It just comes off with a couple screws.
That's
yeah,
right.
awesome.
Yep. And
Great.
Tighten it up, and it's safe. Supports her weight.
And just show how the guillotine goes in and out. So it just slides in and out like that. There you go. So then just open up the nest box again. You can see the door is shut. So you can get after the kits, have a look without the doe jumping in and being bothered by it.
That's right.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so not only do you have wire cages, and your wire cages were 4 by 8 feet, weren't they? And then you can change that size depending on whether the doe has a litter or not. Mm-hmm. Now you have wood cages here. So tell us a little bit about your wood cages, and why do you like wood cages off the top over wire? I know you do.
Yes. So some people will say that some of the Flemish will develop sore hocks on wire, the heaviness of the animal, etc. Some people say that you can breed that out of the Flemish, that is the sore hocks. I like the stability of the solid floors. These wooden cages, of course, there could be more clean out involved, but that comes, with the territory. But here, again, it's 8 feet long. It's pretty well divided. I can pull this out, this divider, completely out, and make it one cage as opposed to 2 cages. I like this a lot. That is, I can put my water bottles, as you see here, for this particular animal. You can put the water bottle here so that if you didn't have this separation, every time you would go to feed him or her, water, clean out, then you're moving the the water bottle, will it tip over, et cetera, et cetera. I like this quite a bit. And same.
Now, what do you use for bedding?
So for bedding here, in the summertime, I like to go with wood shavings, and in the wintertime, I like to go with a combo of wood shavings and straw, clean dry straw.
Is it barley straw you use?
Yeah, actually, Peter got me onto the barley straw. I find barley straw to be very, very good for the nest boxes. Much softer, tough to get though, the barley straw, as I'm finding. So I hope that the layer of shavings at the bottom, will suffice with regular wheat straw, on top.
Just show us what that looks like.
So there she is.
Is that a doe, obviously?
Yeah, it's a doe. That's right. Yeah.
You got just shavings in there right now.
Yeah.
And so you use a bowl for feed?
Yes.
And a bowl attached here for the water, as well as a water bottle.
That's right. So hopefully I'm covering both bases. What I'm doing in the wintertime is each Flemish has 2 water bottles for the wintertime. And I sub in the morning and in the evening because if the first water bottle is frozen, then I'll substitute the lukewarm water in the second water bottle. Therefore, she or he will have a constant supply of water.
Now, I also notice you feed hay.
Yes, I do.
So you have hay feeders on the outside there?
Yes.
And is there any particular type of hay that you feed, John?
I like second cut, Timothy orchard grass combo. I find to be the best. Some people would like to feed alfalfa, especially early on. I know I don't. I give this particular hay for the little ones to nibble on, as soon as they can or want to. Everything, of course, in moderation, but a combination of second cut for sure. I find the first cut to be too coarse, etc., and too much stock, for them. A lot of waste. But I think you'll find with mine, at least with the Flemish and their hay feeders, I don't know if as a breed if they're lazy by nature or it requires too much work, but you'll say, oh, they're not eating their hay, but so help me, if you take the hay out of the hay feeder and put it inside, they will eat that hay, yet they didn't bother trying too hard to get the hay out of the hay feeder. And other people have noticed this as well, so I don't know if it's just mine or not, but unlike what we talked about with the Flemish in the wire cages, I'll show you what a nest box looks like for these guys. This is what for me, a typical size nest box or nest box that I use, etc. So as you can see.
Again, and roughly how big is that one?
And again, we're talking a 1.5 foot, long with a foot high, and yeah.
So you put that in the empty cage there. Just show me how you get it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. An important factor is not to put it where the doe defecates. So, for example, if she goes into the to the right-hand corner, keep your nest box away from the right-hand corner. So something like this, she has good access. She can relax outside, etc.
Now, when she has a litter, you'll pull the divider and make it double big once they start growing?
Yes, if it's a large litter, and if that side is empty, then I'll pull this out. Here, the entire divider, comes out, and she and her litter have access to the entire.
And you do much the same thing with the wire cage?
Yes, exactly. If there's a big litter, I'll do the same thing there. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You're going to get a Flemish Giant out here. And what color have we got here?
It'll be a fawn.
A fawn?
Yeah.
How heavy do these Flemish Giants get, John?
It's interesting. The standard will call for minimum 13 pounds for the bucks and 14 for the does. There are people that will say that they have 25-pound Flemish. I've never seen one. They don't exist as far as, in my opinion.
What's the biggest Flemish you have had?
Over 20 pounds. Yeah, over 20 pounds. So this is a fawn doe here.
And you're posing her now the way they would pose
Yes.
at the show?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so these have an arch, don't they?
Yeah. If the standard calls for a mandolin shape, so if you're not sure what that is, look up the musical instrument, a mandolin, to give you some idea. But you're placing her front feet directly below her eyes. Here, we're talking about a sweep here. You should be able to put 3 to 4 fingers behind her ears, and then the rise will start, etc. The higher the better, as far as good depth is concerned. Length of the rabbit, obviously you don't want a rabbit that's too short, nor too long. Fullness to the table, being let's say undercut is a problem. This particular.
Tell us what undercut means.
So, for example, when you're looking at it from the rear view, etc., that the rabbit caves into a V formation on either side of her tail, and when moving you'll see her again with her rear legs, or he, for example, with the rear legs pointing to the outside window.
So they should not be undercut. It should come over the hips and down straight,
Yeah, and,
rather than cutting in as a
That's
V.
right. Full to the table. You should not have, let's say, it angled inwards, etc. But this particular animal is full to the table, nice and full, which is what you want. A lot of Flemish today, some Flemish today, are too flat here. They're too flat. So I don't know if you can ever get too much depth. Saying that there's too much depth is like saying that you've got too much money. No such thing. So
depth over the hind quarters,
yes,
over the hind hips,
yes,
there.
where my hands are in here,
Okay.
etc., etc.
Now we have to check their feet and their teeth. Can you do that for me, of how you would roll one of these big fellas over?
So I would put, let's say, my second finger, support the weight of the animal with my right hand over like this, and down like this, molting again here. But for example, showing you that this is indeed a doe. Doesn't look like she's anywhere close to being ready to be bred. Checking for keep their toenails as trimmed as possible, always, especially well before a show, etc. Clear as far as nostrils are concerned. Please do not take if you even suspect or wonder if your animal is sick, leave it at home, because the show is the last place you want to take a sick animal for your own safety and the safety of all the other animals.
So docile compared to
Very.
the Californians and the New Zealanders
Yes.
that I've had.
Yeah, they here when posing, of course, as we said, the front and as far as the back is concerned, tucking in, etc. underneath, and
That's good, John. You do have some New Zealands. You have a nice little New Zealand litter here. And it is a hot one today. You can tell they're all stretched out all over the cage. Okay, guys. There they are. There's Mama on the back. And is that a box just for her to sit up top?
yeah, just a transitional phase. I took away the straw and the shavings, and they were starting to jump out and nibble at the pellets. So just to give them a bit of a comfort period.
And we do have a Californian as well. Black ears, black nose, black feet and tail.